Hi, I've been getting a lot of questions about whether or not you should do a master's before you do a doctorate's degree. So I thought I'd just make a short video kind of explaining why you might want to do a master's and why maybe you shouldn't. Um, so let me start with just talking about some of the reasons against doing a master's degree. There are many PhD programs that won't count any of the hours that you do in your master's towards those 90 units, 90 units that you need for your doctorates. And so then if you think about that, that's going to increase the amount of time that you spend as well as the amount of money that you spend, because you're going to end up spending 2 to 2.5 years in your master's program, and then also the cost of that master's program before you even go to your doctorates. So if I were going to go into a PsyD, I would apply straight into a PsyD without doing a master's first, but there's an exception to that, which I'll talk in a minute. Also, there are some faculty in PhD programs that kind of feel like they have to unteach or help students unlearn stuff that they learned in their master's program. And part of that's the, for lack of a better word, I'll say the arrogance of Research One universities, because sometimes those faculty believe that the way that they teach and the knowledge that they are imparting is so much better than what could be gained in a master's program. And there are times when that's probably true. If you were comparing, for example, like a class in a PhD in clinical psychology versus a similar type class in a marriage and family therapy program, there might be some truth to that, simply because the primary population of concern in a marriage and family therapy program may be different than the population of concern for a PhD in clinical psych. In other words, marriage and family therapy may be dealing with more community mental health or relationship issues, and the same class at a PhD level in clinical psych may really be focusing more on severe psychopathology. So I guess, there's maybe some truth to that. But this bias goes beyond just clinical psychology. There are other disciplines in psychology, social psychology, for example, that may have, some of those same beliefs. I'm not saying all social psychology programs or faculty believe that, but I'm just saying it's definitely out there, that particular belief. So that could be a reason why you might not want to go to a master's program first. There's another issue for those who are going for licensure that I think is very important you should consider. And that is, if you get your master's in marriage and family therapy, or you go, so you become a licensed marriage and family therapist, or you go for an LPCC or LCSW, which would be licensed professional clinical counselor or licensed clinical social worker, you have to do a certain number of supervised hours during the program, and then also a large number of hours after the program to get that licensure. Well, if you decide then later to go for your PsyD or your PhD in clinical psychology or counseling psychology or some school psychology programs with the idea of becoming a licensed clinical psychologist, then you're still going to have to do hours during that PhD or PsyD program and then hours after that program to get that next license. So basically you are doing double the number of hours. And that's pretty daunting when you look at the number of hours that are required. So if in your heart you know what you want to do is be a licensed clinical psychologist, my suggestion would be to either go straight into that program from your bachelor's degree if you have the requirements, or to choose a master's program that's designed to prepare you for those doctorate degrees. And so that's actually a nice segue then into why you might want to do a master's. A lot of times you may not have the requirements. For example, if you're applying to a PhD in psychology, no matter what the area of psychology, or a PhD in an area related to psychology like human development and family sciences, or just a human development program, then you need to have a certain level of knowledge about research and statistics. And you probably are not getting that experience as an undergraduate unless you've been involved in a research lab for a couple of years, because you want to be able to not only learn the research and statistics skills you need, but also be able to show that you have that knowledge by presenting at professional conferences and hopefully even maybe publishing a paper. And so then you might actually want to then pursue a master's program that's specifically designed to prepare you for a doctorate program. For example, at Cal State University Northridge, we have two such programs, our clinical psychology program and also our psychological sciences. The purpose of both of those programs is to prepare you for a doctorate. In the psychological sciences, it's designed to prepare you for PhD, and for clinical psych, there are two different tracks, one for more the PsyD, one for more the PhD. So in that PhD track of clinical psych, you're going to get more statistics classes, and you're going to have a research mentor. So in those two programs, which are both two-year programs, you then would be matched with a mentor that will then guide you, help you present at conferences, hopefully help you publish a paper, or at least get that process started, and help you develop the research and statistics skills you need to be competitive for a PhD. Also, there are a few doctorate programs out there that require a master's. For example, the PsyD program at Pepperdine has historically required applicants to have a master's program in a related field before they apply to that PsyD program. So as you can imagine, it's a very competitive program, quite a good program, I think. And it is possible that the doctorate program that you get into might count some of those hours. And, so those 90 units, maybe they count 15 units of your master's. My particular PhD counted all 30 units of my master's, which was a bonus, but I still took other classes because I wanted to be more prepared for my future role as a faculty member. So it's not really a cut and dry answer as to whether or not you should do your master's first. But if your goal is to be a licensed clinician, and your goal is to get a doctorate, then you should really think about having to do those hours twice if you decide to do a master's first in a therapy-oriented program like LMFT, LPCC, or LCSW. Anyway, I hope that answered a few of your questions, and most certainly, if you have other questions about that, please email me or come by my office hours. Have a great day.